Professional musicians are rare. In the US, about 1 in 30,000. Ultra runners, 1 in 8,000. But the odds that you run into a random stranger who's both a professional musician and an ultra runner, 1 in 300 million. So what does it say about me if I know 3? Kyle Whalum, Brad Sample, and Caleb Gilbreath. And they all live right here in Nashville, Tennessee.
What I would love to know, what person, how many ever years ago decided, I know, let's run 100 miles in the woods, someplace where there's nothing, in the dark, where there's bears.
I think the first question is, who in the hell thought it was a good idea? I mean, come on. 26 isn't enough. Now we're gonna go to 100? All right, that's a whole nother point. But I've got all the kudos to the people who do, but I still look at it and go, who actually thought? It's like the first person who ate oysters. I'm from South Louisiana, but the first person who took an oyster out of the ocean and went, hey, that looks pretty good. Why? Somebody did it.
The modern-day ultramarathon was born in 1977 with the Western States Endurance Run in California. Typically for a 100-mile race in the United States, when you finish, you get a belt buckle. It's because Western States used to be a horse race, and the story goes that there was a guy that was riding in the horse race, and his horse went lame, and so he ended up dragging the horse for most of the race. And at the end, he said, I think I could do it faster without the horse. And so the next year, he signed up, and he went without the horse, and he walked the race, and he finished. Years went on, more and more people did it, and now it's not a horse race anymore, it's just a running foot race.
Anything longer than the marathon is considered ultramarathon. You know, a lot of races have their own distances that are unique. Standardized distances are 50 kilometers, 50 miles, 100 kilometers, 100 miles. You got 6-hour races, you got 12-hour races, you got 24-hour, 48-hour, 72-hour, and then it jumps to the 6-day event. 12 or 13 years ago, there were like 160 ultra races worldwide, and I think there's close to 2,000 now.
Some people just love to be outside. They love nature, they like to be in the woods, and if 100 miles keeps them in the woods, longer, that's what they're gonna do. But for me, it's definitely that just internal power struggle within myself.
Just getting the shit kicked out of you by yourself, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. It's up to you to train, it's up to you to prepare, to bring the gear, all of that stuff. And then it's just you out there.
Obviously, to run 100 miles, you've got to have a wealth of physical ability. I mean, watching Micah run these races, she's got the ability to continue to go at a pace, but what is it that keeps her going?
I would say 90% mental, 10% physical. It is a mind game more than anything else. What can I do? How far can I push? How can I be sure that I don't push too hard? This is all a mental game.
You'll find a million reasons to quit, to stop, to give up. What it boils down to, if you're well trained to begin with, it's all right here after 50 miles. If you just keep moving, when you get to the finish line, it's nothing better.
In the past, I've worked with pretty high-level athletes, elite level, college, Olympic, pro. There's one thing that's consistent with all of them. They don't have that inner voice that tells them to quit. Brad, Kyle, and Caleb, I would put them in the category of these elite athletes. They probably would not say that about themselves.
You're talking about somebody who's dedicated such a huge portion of their life to training, and they reach a point where they're like, I'm not quitting. So some people would say, hey, that's a great character trait. And some people would say, it's a terrible character flaw. And I don't know. I don't have it in me. These guys do.
We actually all met through the music industry.
Two of my best friends in the world. They're just like, my brothers in some of the biggest sense of the word. They were both in my wedding, and we shared this like really tight bond of music.
The third component is that we are all like legit running nerds.
We've all played with each other in various aspects, and whenever we can, we get together and run. This is my first 100-miler. I've done 4 50-milers to date and 2 50Ks.
6 months ago, Caleb wasn't even talking about doing a 100-miler. So he's done enough 50-milers to where he's like wondering what it's like to go further.
It's difficult for touring musicians to find a race that works with our schedule. The Pinhoti 100 just happened to work.
Pinhoti's a Creek Indian name meaning turkey home. And the Pinhoti Trail, 171 miles of it is in Alabama, and then connects to the Appalachian Trails. You actually are bused all the way to the start line. It takes an hour and a half to get there, and then you got 30 hours to run back. It is a true point to point.
I had been mulling this idea of like, I think we kind of made a joke about, we should start a band, a band of ultra runners. The more and more I thought about that and we talked about it, the more it actually kind of made sense. It's like,
we've been talking about, fantasizing about really starting a band together. Now that we're all signed up for this same 100-mile race, it seemed like a good jumping off point to actually make a record together.
Dancing by yourself, you move like no one else. It seems the music's trying to say that you should move closer my way.
In the racing world, DFL stands for dead fucking last.
the leaders of the race come through and they get a whole bunch of applause. But in our culture, the slowest person honestly gets the most respect because they've probably been through the most.
Someone to hold me tight to make me feel alright. I need somebody.
18?
Yeah, 18.3.
Cool. 18 miles down. We're doing it.
How you feeling?
Pretty good. Start was a little stressful. Got in with like 90 seconds to go until the race started. So calm down now. Feeling good.
At 27, we'll probably take more of a breather. And
yeah.
Kyle is infectious. I mean, everybody that meets him remembers him. Most anyone, no matter how far removed from your personal group they are, that runs in Nashville, and they probably know Kyle Whalum.
Oh, we're all learning here.
Oh, yeah. Apparently.
My name's Kyle Whalum, and I am a musician by trade. I'm a dad, husband, and I'm obsessed with running long distances, regardless of, it seems, whether that's good or bad for my life at the moment. That's kind of my only hobby other than playing music. So I grew up in between LA and Nashville. We moved from LA when I was 12 to come here. A lot of musicians in the family, not everyone is, thank God. My dad is a career musician. He played with like Whitney Houston and Luther Vandross. A lot of recordings you've heard. My cousin Kenneth plays with D'Angelo, and he's played with Jay-Z and Beyonce. He's been on Kanye's records. My cousin Cameron plays with Bruno Mars. For a lot of guys, the goal is to get to a point where they say, oh, what do you do? I play music. Who do you play for? And, you know, it was a long time of saying like, yeah, I play for a guy named so-and-so or a girl named so-and-so. To be able to just say like I play for Kelly Clarkson and people go like, oh, that's awesome. I've heard of her, you know. It's taken me 18 years to work up to a job like that pays enough to take care of the family. And
he likes to be the best at whatever he puts his mind to. So whether that's music or whether that's running, he's not the fastest runner, but he likes to push himself to, I mean, how many people do 100-mile races?
My name's Caleb Gilbreath. I played drums for a living, mostly for a country artist named Brett Eldridge.
I got a poor sense of direction, sometimes too strong of affection for a whiskey made in Lynchburg, Tennessee.
I grew up in a very academic family. So originally I wanted to go into aerospace engineering. That was my first idea for a career path, and convincing my parents that pursuing a career in music was a viable option. It took some time, but to their credit, they were really supportive once they came around. I went to Berklee College of Music. I studied music production and engineering and also performance. Doing the engineering thing was me kind of thinking that was a more sensible career path than just playing drums for a living.
How would you describe Caleb?
Caleb's a robot. Like a warm, kind robot that I enjoy hanging out with. But Caleb has played drums for some of Brad's stuff that we've done. We were on the way back from a Knoxville show. He had been disappearing when we would make stops. Like at Starbucks, he would disappear for a while and then come back, and we would stop to get food and he would disappear and he would come back. And then we're in the van and we're getting off an exit to get to a gas station, and he like pops up out of the back seat and is like, "Can you pull over, B? Will you hand me a bag?" And I'm like, what? This is all coming out of nowhere. So I hand him a bag. We pull over on the side of the road and he just starts puking everywhere. And he had been sick the entire day and like disappearing to go throw up and never told anybody about it. And I thought that was so bizarre. Like he had been sick the whole day and didn't even mention it to anybody, but he's just like, just a robot, just a robot.
Like, there's not a lot of things that you can like really stump him on where he hasn't thought about it or the thought hasn't crossed his mind. His mom is, they're very, very similar. You know, they had a bunch of kids, so like she would cart these children around, and they went to like vacations, like across the country, and they were like little ducklings. Like they were very, very well behaved, and like bathroom breaks are at this time, and it was so like seeing how like she orchestrated a Thanksgiving was like, oh, that's Caleb. Like, that's where he gets it from. Come across, I guess, to some people, like, maybe more cold. But, like, he is very, very warm and has a heart of gold.
I'm concise. Those guys are good at philosophizing about stuff. I think I'm just to the point.
Brad Sample. I was born in Longview, Washington, and my folks moved to Nashville with me and my three sisters when I was 8. They were worship pastors at a church. That's one of the things that brought them to Nashville. They got a job at a big church and started playing music with them and my sisters at like 11 or 12 maybe. And that's when I was playing drums. Into my late teens, started playing for some like CCM, so some contemporary Christian artists. And my dad, this one day, I was still living at my parents' house. He brought home this VHS videotape of Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. He put that on, and I was like, that is the coolest sound that I've ever heard in my life, and I have to do that. And so I started getting pretty serious about guitar. Around then, my late teens, started a band when I was 22 called Run With Bulls, and we went for it, man.
Don't close your eyes.
Made a ton of music, made 2 records, played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows. And then when that ended, that's when I started gunslinging for other people. And my first gig was actually Brett Eldridge, who Caleb plays for now. Started doing musical direction and playing guitar for a gal named Brooke Eden. She took this year off, so last year when Rebecca and I got married, I moved to the guy who I play for now, who's William Michael Morgan.
He is the sweetest man in the universe. He is just the kindest, sweetest person.
He's probably the most positive person I know. Very encouraging, very humbling to be around because he's just so wildly talented.
and also like a really unprepared ultra runner, which I think he certainly knows that, but he just doesn't necessarily think through like, oh, I'm just gonna go out and run and I don't need to take anything with me. Up until a certain point, he didn't even have a running vest for longer distances, and he wouldn't bring any water, which is an important thing to take when you're ultra running.
Spider twig. Or no, what do we call it? Spider branch.
Yeah.
Really, really important.
When you're the first one on the trail.
Does whatever a spider branch can.
Running is an interesting story for me because actually I was really into soccer as a kid. That was my favorite thing in the world from the time I was like 5 years old. Eventually I was playing like on a select club by the time I was like 10, and I was really serious about it. But I was a really bad asthmatic as a kid. I was in and out of the hospital a whole lot. Ultimately, I had to drop out of soccer by the time I was like 13 years old because I couldn't do the conditioning anymore. I didn't get back into running at all until college. I had a friend that was training for a half marathon, so I ran 3 slow miles with her, and it wasn't so bad. Then the next week, she was running 5. I did that with her, super slow. It was great. The next week was 8, did it. Ended up doing the entire block of training for this half marathon with her. When I went home for Christmas break, I decided to run my own little half marathon in my hometown. And so I ran 13 miles at the park just by myself, just to see if I could do it. And thought I was a badass having run 13 miles, so I tweeted about it. And another friend of mine replied to it and said, I'm training for a marathon. You want to run that with me? And I said, sure, why not? That ended up being my first race that I would ever run. And then it kind of snowballed from there. Started looking around at longer races because I really liked the distance thing. Did a few of those over the last few years, and now I'm looking at training for my first 100-miler.
I was like 4'10" or something like that at 15. I had braces and blonde hair and was just chunky. And my dad's this like, you know, handsome 6-foot firefighter guy. All my cousins are the same way. They're these big tree type dudes. I remember thinking like, if I'm gonna be short, sure as hell not gonna be fat. So one morning, took off like 6 a.m. right as the sun was coming up, and I made it one time around the block. I hated it, like absolutely hated it. But there was something that just was clicking in my head about the like, that kind of just monotonous, you know, like 1 2 1 2 1 2. You could just get your mind off of everything else. Even as a 15-year-old, I remember feeling some clarity more so than anything else that I ever did. It was a lot like playing guitar for me. Like it's easy for that to be the only thing that I focus on.
You know, I think I was getting a little chubby, and my dad took me when I was 12. He was a jogger, and back then it was like 11-minute miles consistently. You know, it was like proper jogging. It wasn't about running. It was like, it's good for your heart. You get out and you go slow, and we went to Percy Warner Park. We ran a mile. The experience was so awful for me. Like, I remember like dry heaving and crying. Like, he took me back consistently for like 2 weeks. Something did click towards the end of it. And pretty soon I was doing it on my own. Like, before he would even come get me, I would get up and go do it around the neighborhood. I think that lasted probably 2 weeks. I didn't really stick with it. Buried that for a while, got into rock and roll. In college, I definitely gained like 30 pounds my freshman year. And I was like, I gotta do something. Got back into running. And I would do that over the course of my young adulthood, like, you know, whip my butt back into shape. 24, I broke my right ankle in a stupid party stunt. Like, I was just being a dumbass. I'm a golden god, that kind of thing. I jumped off a porch.
I am a golden god!
And I broke my ankle, and my foot was actually facing like 90 degrees. Like, it was a bad break. They had to have a surgery to put me back together because I was incapacitated for like a year. You know, it was pretty much, it started with a wheelchair, and then it was a boot, and it was crutches, and it hit me hard that I had taken my mobility for granted. When something like just moving around is taken from you, it makes you think of people that can't run.
I could run to the stairs into the white trail. Oh, yeah. How you doing? Hanging on?
Right back to where you came in. Oh, that's fine.
Good job, guys. Gosh. Got pickles there too. You were looking really too normal.
You know, well, I mean, the race is just beginning. We're only 27 and a half miles in.
So how is it out there? Pretty good?
It's good, man. Anyone seen my socks?
Am
I sitting on them? Okay. All right, so we've already started losing our minds. At least I have. Caleb's doing excellent as always.
Hey, Amy, I'm gonna give this to you so just throw it in the car.
Do you need your electrolyte stuff? Is there anything in here?
5-minute aid station stop. We're 6 minutes in. The only time I pick up time on these guys is on the fastest at the aid stations.
Feel good?
I'm always waiting. They're better runners than me. I'm a more efficient human being. A little over marathon in, so I can't really say we're a quarter of the way done effort-wise. I feel great. I'm still focused. I'm not getting loopy yet. Still feel strong. So I got all the energy in the world right now, so I'm trying to save it.
You know which way we're going? We're going that way.
You're going back out. Where are you going?
We love each other and we love playing music together, but the third component is that we are all like legit running nerds. In Nashville and in music, there's a lot of like, tipsy talk. Hey, we'll write together, man. Oh yeah, we'll get together and do this. And Brad and I were like, man, we should run tomorrow. We were the only two idiots that woke up hungover and were like, I still want to go run.
Kyle and I became great buds in a really short amount of time. We always knew each other through music growing up around Nashville. But when we discovered that we were musician runners, we were just like, and so we ran a marathon together. And then Kyle started getting way hot on this trail running and ultra marathons. I didn't even know what it was.
I think I took Brad on his first trail run, is my memory. I could be wrong about that, but we certainly like caught the bug at the same time. So that was nearly 10 years ago.
I just fell in love. It was still all the same cathartic things that like made my brain really happy, but in a totally different way.
Fast forward like 7 years from then or so, I was on the road.
He was playing with a country artist named Billy Currington, and I was just starting to play with Brett Eldridge. And we did a show opening for Billy, and everybody in our respective camps knew that we were runners.
They're like, hey man, you ought to meet this guy Caleb. He's training for a marathon, and he's like a serious runner. We went running and talked about his race, and like, come to find out he was training for a road ultra marathon. I'm like, dude, you're running a road 50K? Like, what are you doing? It's like, you need to sign up for a mountain race, man. It's way easier.
In that 2-mile run, Kyle convinced me to sign up for my first 50-miler. So he's got that spirit about him that he wants to get everybody else into running, and he's really good at that.
It was a lot like when Brad and I met. Like, we just stayed in touch and always talk about running. And
Ultramarathoning for me is something I would never do. But I'm blown away by what ultramarathoners can find within themselves to go into those dark places and know that they're going to come out on the other side and learn more about themselves.
When people find out you run ultras, same questions. Do you sleep? For 100 miles, unless it's something crazy, typically you don't sleep. Number 2 is what do you eat? And, usually I respond by saying everything. I don't think a lot of people understand that there are aid stations along the way.
You don't have to go more than an hour or two without getting the chance to refill on water, refill on food.
I would describe an aid station as like an 8-year-old's birthday party. A buffet table full of junk food, candy, cookies, carbohydrates like potatoes and chips and things like that. People are generally wearing costumes and they're really excited to see you when you get there. And then they just, kind of hype you up and keep going. 50 miles and beyond, you get a drop bag, and that just gets to include stuff that you would need at that point in the race.
Food, spare pair of shoes. I don't plan on using them.
That's what he says right now, but
Hats, gloves.
The last question is always like, why do you do it? And I think it's different for every ultra runner.
I might need some help. The thing that always just gets me going is like knowing everything is falling apart right now for me, and I've just got to find a way to keep going. This is the best and worst of you, and they're in the same freaking place in the middle of your brain right now. and you have to wrestle him to the ground. It's like that verse in the Bible where they talk about, was it Jacob getting like touched on the hip by the angel or something like that? Wrestle with God for the rest of his life. He ran with a limp. I want that shit. So right now I feel fine. It's just when I start climbing real hard, like right here, it doesn't feel like a game stopper. It just hurts.
Honestly, I have like kind of a soft plan to potentially leave this aid station before them.
Oh yeah?
They're a lot faster than me on downhill stuff, but I'm a lot faster at aid stations. So
Kind of work out then.
I told them if I was literally sitting, waiting for Brad to roll out some stuff or whatever, I might start my way down the mountain.
Right here in the front.
Probably some nicotine addiction.
All right, Kyle, we'll see you out there.
Never smoke. See you, Jack.
Doing pretty good so far. A lot of race left, though. Kyle, I'm gonna start heading down.
Sure, man.
I'm gonna be slow.
Probably just a little bit. Okay, I bet the Elite will do the trick. All right, I'll see you guys. Thank you guys so much. I'm good, buddy.
We had made a plan, the three of us, to run until mile 30 together.
Pretty much, unless someone broke a leg.
Yeah.
It
And
was
it's like, okay. But at some point I knew it was going to be like, man, I'm feeling good. I'm going to go on. I'm not feeling good, blah, blah, blah.
Did Caleb already bail?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool. Did you see my gloves? They're down here. Okay, good. I need to put them on here pretty quick. Jamie gave me his base layer, man. Thank God.
Oh,
I thought I had a long sleeve and that one at the top. I guess it's the bottom. I don't know what I was thinking at my bags, dude.
Well, it's like trying to pack, like people that do the AT. They send out their supply list, months ahead.
Yeah.
And they get there and they just laugh because it's not what they needed.
Totally.
There's no way to know what you need.
I mean, the last 3 bags have been wrong. Like, 100% wrong.
I know things are going to get dark at some point. It's still going to feel wrong when it happens, Just one crazy variable you didn't think about can affect your whole race, I've never had upset stomach. That could be a thing. A lot of people start puking as early as 20 miles in and they can't keep food down. And if you can't eat, you're dead in the water, My last 100, I got trench foot.
There was like 38 creek crossings at the no business 100. So there's just like no way to dry out your feet or your hands.
I noticed my feet were starting to hurt and it felt like pressure. It felt like I was concerned that I was barking up like a stress fracture or something because it really was starting to be painful to where I couldn't like ignore it. I sat down, popped my shoes off, said, let me see what's going on here. It looked like someone's brain or like some coral or something, like just totally destroyed. They're pale white. I'm a black dude, if you can't tell. And I was like, shit, man, this is not good.
I joined him at mile 60 and ran with him to the end. So I ran 40 miles of his 100-miler with him, and it was the night portion.
Late into that race, I actually remember hallucinating. I was seeing the snakes were real.
He definitely saw some snakes that I didn't see. So, yeah, he may have been hallucinating. Maybe he's just got a sharper eye than me.
Mentally. Oh, I got bacon in my pocket.
The sole purpose of the human brain is to keep you alive. So it's going to start misreading threat constantly. It can't miss a true threat. Okay, that would put you at risk.
The last aid station was mile 95, in which I didn't plan on sitting down, but the feet were hurting so bad. This was my reality. And Caleb just looked at me and was like, dude, how much can you hurt?
It felt weird to leave Brad and Kyle behind, but kind of figured if I didn't, I was kind of running their race, not my race. I figured almost definitely they'll dust me in the end, and so if I didn't kind of do what I do best, then I was just pacing them for their race, not running mine. It was a steep downhill. Took longer to get down that mountain than it did to get up it.
Yeah.
At least, yeah, it was a shorter stretch than I thought, but it was so steep you were crawling down.
Good problem to have, I guess.
I hear people talk about, getting to 50 miles and being like, I've been running for 12 hours and I'm only halfway done, but you can't go there. If you go there and you feed that, then it'll spiral.
If you need a stretch,
Yeah, I probably should. I did a little bit the last one.
I can do that for you if you need to.
201.
Nice. All right, I got you.
I think I'm good on that stuff. There's a pair of socks in there.
I feel good. I mean, I've learned like I was telling Brad, there's false summits as far as elevation goes. A lot of times, there's also false summits with your energy and your level of pain and stuff. You may be feeling great, and you're at 45, and you're like, "Oh, I got this in the bag," and that's just not true. So I try to keep it really, stay humble as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? We'll see if I can pull that off. It's easy to say.
All right, Kyle, I'm throwing the shoe on. I'm gonna grab a handful of food, and I'm good. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
You taking off?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's across it.
Sorry. Thank you so much, buddy.
You got it, brother.
You sure?
Good to go. Yeah. I'm okay right now. Awesome. Thank you, buddy. You're a hero, bro. Seriously, man.
You're my hero.
I'm good.
No, he's my hero.
All right, ram it in.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck, guys.
Right up there. See you guys.
Hey, guys. Thank you guys so much.
The first 100-miler that you participate in is like a field trip because you're just like, these people are crazy. This is like a whole subculture, and everybody who does it a lot has their coolers and their camp gear. I didn't form an opinion the first one. I was just like, whoa, this is weird.
100 miles, I was up for 30 hours. And I was never been so like out of my mind after that. I was peeing in a parking lot. Like leaning up against a car. Like, you really have to love the person you're with to do that. Like, once a year doing that, I mean, I do it because I love him, but maybe we don't do this every single year. Maybe you take a little bit more of a break.
My first 50-miler, I hobbled in the last like 3 miles. I mean, I was barely moving. It was awful. Like, right at first, we were just like, oh, that's the worst thing. We got that out of our system.
They're always like, I'm not gonna do that again. And so you really think like, yeah, like they're really done, and then they're not.
Do the 50K, and then it's like, well, that was fun. We really like this. I think we can probably do a 50-miler because there's another thing. It's a 50-miler. Let's do that. So then they ran the 50-miler. You know, there's a 100K. So it's like, we can probably do that. Like, so then you do the 100K. Oh, dude, do you think that we're ready to do a 100-miler? Yeah, we can do it.
She met me at the end of my first 100-miler, and I think that's when she saw how dark it could get and how much I loved it.
Went to the finish line at 100 and started running back. I saw him come around the corner a few hundred yards in the distance, and I'm passing zombies at this point. Like, every single person nobody looked good. Everyone's looking at me like, are you here for me? Like, everyone's looking at me in the eye, just looking weird and not saying anything. I see him off in the distance, and it looked like he was falling over. And as I got closer, this is what I mean when I say he's like the sweetest man in the world, and I'm the worst. He was picking up flowers for me. And I'm gonna cry. And he was gonna run like the last 7 miles when he's depleted and hurt and limping, holding flowers to give to me at the finish line. And then I got closer to him, and he's got tears in his eyes, and he's just like bawling, and he's like, I'm not doing so good. And I'm like, we're gonna do this. We've got 7 miles left. We're gonna run this thing in. And he started telling me, he's like, I'm doing the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And the only thing that I keep thinking when stuff gets tough is that I can't do it without you. And I want you to do this with me forever. And I went, shh. I know where this is going, and this is not the time for it. Okay, you're limping and crying. Now is not the time. Yeah.
In my head, it was like this super awesome, like really romantic thing, and it did not go that way.
So I interrupted him, and I did not let him propose in like the sweetest way ever. Because I'm the worst. So, the worst.
I just wanna be your man.
I had no idea running was going to be as like big of a part of our lives. I hate running with a passion. Every time I run, I feel sick, I feel more stressed. So when he's like, I'm gonna go for a run, and he comes back and he's like totally chill and relaxed and happy, I'm like, I'd be so pissed off right now.
Only thing that sucks is when Brad is traveling a lot for his job, and then when he comes home and you have a hobby that takes up like 30 hours a week and there's no way around it because you have to get those hours in. That's the part where it's like, maybe my husband hates me. Maybe he just doesn't like being near me ever because he's gone all the time. Then when he gets home, he's running in the woods for like hours.
I don't think I had any idea that it was ever gonna like go this far or how I would feel about it once we had kids and things like that, but.
How about looking back now, would you have been as encouraging if you knew?
If I knew? No.
I wouldn't say I'm hungover, but I'm foggy, as you would say.
Man, let's bust that fog.
We're about to do our longest run of training. We'll hit somewhere between 35 and 40 miles. It's raining, so that'll be fun. I flew in from Boston this morning, so that makes it extra fun.
And I had a fight with my wife.
Today, like this morning?
I mean, not a big one, but
Yeah.
that's my preferred way to start.
Yeah.
The fight with your wife, did it have anything to do with this?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you're going to spend 8 hours on a trail away from your family,
And she knew this was, I mean, I got clearance to do it, which is always when we fight. It's like, she gives me permission and then she acts like she didn't give me permission. So I'm left confused and bitter.
Well, let's go run it out.
He does at least talk to me about it, but you know, if I don't like to be the one to say no, because then I'm the bitchy wife, you know, who's not supportive. I genuinely believe he's a better person when he runs. But I also want to be like realistic about our family and my needs and what we need from him as well.
Greatness always takes a sacrifice somewhere. That's why when we look at spouses of very successful individuals, male or females, they're always buoyed by a very supportive spouse who understands how to take care of the other stuff.
Trying to figure out if he's going to be in LA or Nashville or Berlin, or I don't even know where he's going in August, but he's like, did you know I was going to be in LA? And I was like, yeah. And he had no idea that he was going to be in a certain state on a certain date. There's so much that my brain has to think about to make like our daily lives run, and I know that he's very aware of that. He doesn't take it for granted. But when you're a mom, the kids just always sort of fall on you, and he can go and book something without even asking me if I'm gonna be there. But like for me to make a hair appointment, it is like pulling teeth. Pressure is a strong word, but sometimes it feels that way. He always says that I don't know what it's like to be on tour, and that's right, I don't, you know, and I know that there's pressure in his work, but I also don't know what it's like to stay in a hotel room by myself and sleep all night.
At mile 55 aid station, and Kelly Clarkson was playing when Kyle got to the aid station.
I'm feeling that. Oh, thanks, Kelly.
How's it feeling?
Actually, surprisingly good. I don't want to jinx anything, but like I know it'll feel worse at some point.
Yes, I do.
Like they say, if you're feeling good, just wait a little bit.
I don't have a needle, I only have my knife.
I have stuff in the car.
Yeah, can you grab it real fast?
Closer you get that, I'm scalp. There's something mental that happens between those two areas. A lot of people want to quit.
That was a long ass 3 months.
You okay?
Man, it's getting slow. It's an interesting spot. It's farther than I've ever run. We have a lot left to go. So, it's been a mentally tough spot. Kyle shouldn't turn it on. I think the gap is going to widen. So I'll be by myself for a bit.
I remember talking to you guys and saying like, I think I'm gonna kind of, you know, do my own thing. Don't be surprised in the next mile.
Yeah, that was my easy out when you started running up a hill. I was like, well, not doing that. Half marathon, so you join me. Then another half marathon after that, and I'm at mile 80.
Around mile 55, we sort of noticed that Caleb wasn't quite himself. We weren't sure why. I was always there and present to stretch and offering, hey, what do you need? He never asked for any help.
Yeah, just bubble it and give it a good little pop, and I'm good to go.
Do it old school.
I've got blister gel.
That's good,
here.
that's good, that's good. Something funky under my foot. Just on that.
I'm just gonna hike.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
You got him?
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah, it honestly doesn't hurt at all anymore. I just want to keep it that way, you know?
How was that last section?
Man, it sucked.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, I love you guys so much.
All right.
Running helps Brad a lot. I'm not going to say he has ADD because this has never been diagnosed.
Do you think Brad has ADHD?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we didn't know that though for the longest time.
When he's running, his brain can focus on one thing. So that probably explains why he runs so much. And I noticed that a lot with a lot of the other runners or people who were working through some stuff.
Deep down, we're all just suffering from something, and a lot of the decisions we make on a day-to-day basis are to try to mitigate that suffering. We're all just looking to find relief, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Everybody wants to act like they're this put-together person, but we're all broken on the inside. The ultra community is made up of a lot of people like with anxiety or drug or alcohol, eating disorders, whatever it is. And we all kind of come together on this place where you're not alone and we're all, can get through it together.
Since I was a kid, I can remember being a worrier. I knew my thoughts could prevent me from achieving things if I let them get away from me. For me, the first big incident was I had what I would call like a devastating panic attack. Like any panic attack is not devastating. I just couldn't get this thing under control, and it really grew to where I couldn't breathe. I get in the car, and by the time I get in the car, it's like so bad that I'm driving myself to Vanderbilt. And I was so scared that I didn't even bother to find parking. I just threw the car in right in front of the ER. The valet or something is like, "Hey, sir, you can't park here." I just threw my keys at him. Was like, "Figure it out." I remember thinking I just don't want to die feet from the door or laying in the. I just want to get inside the hospital. That's a more respectable place to die. So they gave me a very small Xanax or something, and within 15 minutes I was fine. But they ran the EKGs and stuff. And since then, I've had probably 7 or 8 big ones that I can think of, and they do diminish.
Left it all 1,000 miles behind. Just you and me, what will be tomorrow's just a dream. Yesterday I set free. What will be. Don't you know what will be?
Panic attacks are less frequent now. They're almost never happen, really. But the worrying about having a panic attack, if I go, say, to do an interview like this, or if I go to be on stage, am I going to be spun out in my own head? Can I function? You know what I mean? It's a constant battle every day I wake up, and how can I control it to where I can function well? For me, the running has been probably the most healthy cog in place to help me deal with the anxiety. And I don't know why I do these races that are so damn dark.
Hey man.
How are
You warmed up? Oh yeah.
I love you.
How you feeling?
Not bad, man. Is Ray here, my buddy? Jay? Yeah. Sorry. That's what I meant. Hey, Jay.
What up?
Good to see you, dude.
Ray, Jay.
Yeah. Literally, I met the man for the first time, and the dude ran until the sun came up. A cold 20 miles with me up and over a mountain because he's a good dude.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night, and he was awesome. This guy saved the day. He literally responded to a random reach out on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Friend. Yeah.
The idea behind a pacer is just someone that is there to keep you going, make sure that you're eating and drinking, make sure that you don't turn off the wrong way and head down a mountain that you're not supposed to.
Do you have a drop bag?
I do have a drop bag.
I was coming off of Bigfoot 200. Or maybe like a horse race. So I was certainly tuned up to run the last 30 with Kyle, but not necessarily fast.
There's miles from like 60 to 80 that are like, oh, you feel like you're almost getting further away. Mentally, those are tough. But you just got to play little games with yourself. Like pretty soon here, we're going to be within 50K of the end. And Caleb, hopefully, is not too far behind.
Yeah.
He was going through like first timers blues. Like, man, this is.
Yeah.
But
That's what I was thinking is like, you guys know what that stuff is like and he doesn't.
yeah. And honestly, like I'm tempted to feel really bad, but I think it's a great thing because that's a gauntlet you got to go through.
Yeah. How are you doing,
Pick
Kyle?
up there. Good, man. How are you?
Doing good, buddy.
You guys getting ready?
Yeah, we're probably heading out here in about 2 minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Love you guys. Good see you. Like, I don't even know. I guess Amy put out an ad on or something on Facebook.
Yeah, the word spread.
Dude, what a trip.
When Kelsey, my pacer, joined me like around 68, like that was a big boost emotionally.
Yeah! Hey, Caleb. Will you let Amy stretch you for a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that aid station, he was super tight posteriorly. His hamstrings were tight, his calves were tight. It's always ideal to stretch those out throughout the race as opposed to 60-something miles in.
Caleb, you've got shoes.
I don't want shoes. These are fine.
Okay.
Kyle told me to pack extra shoes.
Kyle. You want to roll on your belly? Let me stretch your quads real quick.
How many crate crossings?
I know.
He's so afraid of
trench foot again. Everybody bring extra shoes. Inside out. Come on. Pack your shit right.
You want to take gloves off?
No, I packed this shirt inside out, which is dumb of me. Because I did that with full energy.
So we're starting to get to the point in the race where it's starting to get a little bit weird. People are starting to get really tired, physically tired, mentally tired. It's dark. You start seeing things. Your world is kind of limited to the headlamp on the ground, and
Do you know how far than that?
that's about all you got besides your head.
Sounds so confident.
Well,
Even your headlamp's black.
it's really hard right now.
You're doing great.
I've never changed shoes in a race before. I'm not starting today.
You haven't run this far in a race before either.
It's true. Still not doing it.
No.
I'm like, my feet hurt, but like, of course they hurt.
Yeah.
68 miles into a race. Where are we going?
That way.
All right.
Ready, guys?
Let's go. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. See you in a bit.
We know that an ultramarathon is going to be brutal. And when you finish, you're proud. They don't go on stage and go, hey, we're going out to Kansas tonight. We don't expect it to be hard. So when it does get hard, it becomes judgmental. Like, what's wrong? Why don't we have it tonight? Versus reality of, it's really hard to come back day after day after day after day, play the same set, have the same joys on the first day of your tour as the last day of your tour. I think sometimes these alternative ventures give us a chance to go back to the core of who we are, that we're not known as the specialist, the expert. We're just one of somebody.
Is that cool? There's no other industry like the music industry, and it makes no sense. There is no constant, there's no litmus, there's no it works this way. You know, you have to know that it's worked 20 ways, and you have to make some stew out of those 20 ways.
For Brad, you know, I don't think the music industry has abused him or anything like that. It's just that everybody's got to find their own way. It's different for everybody. Just all of a sudden that day happens where somebody just says, I think you're awesome. And they give you that opportunity, you know, and give you the financial backing that you need to get where you need to go.
It's not as glamorous as it looks. There should be some sort of like marriage class you take before you marry a musician, because you think it's all, you know, fun and games and like, oh, how cool, like my husband's a musician, but it's hard, like just even the logistics of it.
I didn't pick this. Like, there's a lot of times, like, if I had a choice, I would not have picked this path. This is a really difficult, 1 in a million type of path to choose. You really, really struggle.
Unfortunately, I had a really bad experience, like with the first act I ever toured with. It was a guy that had one hit about 18 years ago, and the whole tour was a bit of a sham. It was he was just kind of bankrolling, having a bus to go around from show to show, and there were maybe 10 people at each of these shows. I didn't like playing with them. They didn't like playing with me. It was a really weird situation I've never really experienced. And I got left on the side of the road by that tour bus in Denver, Colorado, and was told to make my own way back to Nashville. That was about 3 months into me living in Nashville. So that was figuring out how to get my own drums home from Denver. I went to a FedEx and I mailed them home. And then I got myself on a Greyhound and took a Greyhound from Denver. I want to say it was like 25 hours or something like that. I actually had made sure that I got paid before I quit, and they managed to stop payment on that, even though it had gone through to my bank account, and pull it back. And so I was basically broke by the time I got back to Nashville.
Maybe 4 years ago. I'm going to leave the artist name out of it, but he became obsessed with the fact that I was like trying to step on his romantic life or something, which was just false. Like, it's just wrong. It's not a thing at all. But he tried to fight me on stage. Yeah, that was like, it was in front of 10 or 20,000 people. I was taking Xanax to get through. I have an anxiety condition, but I was having to take it every day just to get through the work week. And I remember thinking, like, this is not what I want. Like, I worked 14 years of my adult career to get to a place where I'm on salary and there's several buses and the artist has their own bus, and you know, things are pretty cush for like a, you know, late 20s, early 30s guy, and have this dude like trying to fight me and stuff. And so after that happened, I left the tour, got a job at a running store, like selling shoes. I was like starting to dream about that shoe job. Like, man, maybe that'd be more stable. And I love running. I could just do something I love and not have to deal with all people trying to fight me in front of 20,000 people. That's what working with artists can be like.
I really loved seeing the side of him that wasn't afraid to go sell shoes if that's what it took to make money for his family. It took a lot of faith that something better was going to come along, and then all of a sudden he got the call for Kelly Clarkson, and we both kind of thought it was a joke because we were like, that'd be crazy if that happened.
Being with Kelly and being with a crew that is gentle and reasonable and rational, it's like, dude, it's like winning the lottery. So I'm very, very grateful for that all working out, for sure.
Seeing him on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and having Winnie go, "Daddy, Daddy," to the TV, all that's like the really, really fun side of it.
The next most challenging section would be Pinnacle. I think it's 15 or 16 switchbacks. They have music blaring down the mountain, so you kind of hear it for an hour.
Going up the hill, I mean, you're less than a mile away from it. So you can hear their music and cowbells and people yelling.
145. 145. Thanks. There you go.
Howdy.
Have a drop at 85. I'm going to be increasingly less needy, probably going forward. Let's see.
He's been very needy.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Jason, can you rub my back? Jason, can you?
That's no joke, dude. Oh my gosh. Thank you, brother. Don't have any ice cubes or anything like that?
Yeah. Do you want any candy for your pack? Can I take any trash?
I'm sorry, my brain is not working right now.
Okay.
I
think I see.
Yes, trash would be great. My electrolyte. Oh shit, my wife has it because I thought they were
Do you want
here.
any electrolyte pills?
Yeah, give me one.
Oh, there we go. Put it in backwards.
God, it does, man. I'm gonna sit down and eat this, and then we'll be on our way.
This is classically when it gets kind of real. You're far out enough to be not that close, but you really have most of the race in the bag. It's awkward. From here to like 85, probably my least favorite concept, but it's very important to do those miles. That's the only way to get it done. So, all right, cheers.
Everybody, that hill was real, man. We do Thank God it's the last like big climb, but golly.
And you are currently 90 minutes ahead of cutoff. However, you lay down for an hour here, it's over.
You want to head on? All right, you good? Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just gonna walk this, walk while you eat this. Good to go. All right, guys. Cheers. You got some food in you? Yeah. I feel good. Recharge. That shot actually helped a little bit.
Caleb fell behind a little bit. Pinnacle aid station that I wasn't able to get to him. I feel really bad about this, but I think that was the one that he actually was ready to admit that he needed help.
I felt great for like 3 miles, but then that climb up to Pinnacle happens. I got dark real quick.
You mind if I sit?
Yeah, I got so discouraged so quick, and I got really dark.
It is an internal conflict. Fighting those voices in the back of your head that are saying, you could stop right now. Sit down in that chair in front of the warm fire. A volunteer will drive you back to your car. You know, you could be showered and in bed in an hour. And getting past that, being able to say, yes, I could do that, but tomorrow I'm going to be so mad at myself.
That last part sucks. Real bad. That sucked real bad.
All right. Part of my brain the whole time was like, well, yeah, my right heel really hurts, but I mean, I've been running for miles, so of course it hurts.
You think you would relay to Amy?
Yeah, I kind of need her to do all that stretching stuff again at the next.
You know, everybody has dark points in races. It's just a matter of coming back from them and remembering that they don't last and keeping going.
I have a friend of mine who was a Navy SEAL, and when he went through Bud's training, he just identified the next rock. I can't make it for 3 more miles, but I can make it to the next rock. But those rocks led to 3 miles.
Worry about the 6 miles you have to the next aid station. And then we'll worry about the rest when it comes.
Running has always been something that's been an escape and a complete projection of everything that's going on in my life all at the same time.
You will connect his performance at races with how he's doing in life and other things. Even if it was subconscious with him, I had watched that connection happen.
It's not like every single one of these races I choose to, like, oh man, well, this part of myself I want to battle on this race course. It just kind of seems to happen. Like loathing, self-doubt, and amazing hubris are these 2 giant tidal wave forces in my life. With every mile, like those 2 diverging avenues seem to come closer and closer together. You hit mile 80 and you go like, and all of a sudden I'm seeing like, you know, Mr. Hubris over here and Mr. Self-Doubt over here. And all of a sudden I had to go like, okay, this is something that I'm never gonna not wrestle. I'm not gonna master either of these things. I need to master myself inside of them. That was where I got clarity.
In 2016, Brad and Kyle set out to run the Pine to Palm 100 in Southern Oregon. He lost his race bib and almost missed the start of the race. He never really recovered.
Had my spare headlamp on, didn't work. First aid station, 15 miles in, couldn't find Kyle. I had climbed up a 5,000 foot climb, the longest straight climb I'd ever done in my whole entire life.
I'm looking at my phone because, you know, it's in the middle of the night and I'm keeping up and I'm refreshing the screen. He's making good time. It's looking good.
I started throwing up at about 25 miles. Come up to about mile 52. As I was turning around and coming back down, I started like feeling myself just rain sweat And I knew something was wrong. And I talked to the medic there. Every time he'd turn around, I'd throw up. Finally, he comes back and he goes, "You have to eat this banana. And then, we'll talk." And so I ate the banana. He walked off. I didn't throw all of it up, I don't think, but I threw most of it up. And then I just took off down the trail. And maybe a quarter of a mile, not far, my right eye started like flickering on and off. It was like a short, like a wire was going bad.
Your body starts diverting blood supply away from your limbs into your vital organs. This is purely the body's survival mode. Eyes are not as important as heart.
I started thinking, I was like, okay, if I just hike to the next aid station, I can probably do it. And then immediately I tripped and fell. I walked back to the aid station, the quarter mile, and Ryan was his name, the nurse. He goes, "Hey, dude, are you okay?" They said you got a banana down, so I was glad you were getting on. I was like, "Man, my right eye is not working. I don't know what's going on." He sat me down in that same stupid damn canvas chair, and he didn't say a word. He just cut my band off.
Brad's sample dropped. And I cried and I threw my phone across the room because I knew it was gonna be another peg in the board of failure to him.
There's only been one other time in my whole entire life when like the control was taken out of my hands and there was nothing I could do about it but fail. And that was with the band that I was in. And I never really admitted that how much it hurt. And I was just broken when it ended. It was just like this race. Like the last 2 years, I was just flailing, hanging on to this goal. Record labels came to our managers and said they wanted me and not the band.
Do they know about any of this?
No. It wasn't like I was like paying them to play every single show. We were all fucking broke together. Yeah, man, bail on your buddies and we're good. Fuck that. I couldn't do it. And then the real crap part of it is going like, I might have been wrong.
I meet him at that time, like right as the band was kind of coming near the end, and I watched how hard that was for him. And that was when he was like, "Well, I'm a good enough guitar player that I can just play for other people. I'll just go out on the road." But he like will always have that in here. It's something that you've shut off because it hurts too bad to risk it not working out again.
We only came into one aid station ahead of you guys, and it was literally by like 15 seconds.
Have it as a seat. We're by the fire.
Kyle's right there.
Great job.
He's doing great. Got him 201.
I just need a electro ride and that thing. I think I got some in one of those bags. How you doing, Dad?
145. Thanks for being out. He's doing. Jason gave me his. We had a light meltdown. The closer we get to 85, 90, that's a wrap. Yeah. I feel good. There's fire over there.
Man, I can't do it. I'll just get addicted.
Are there fresh batteries in it?
Yeah, you should be good. Take those batteries with you if you want, buddy.
We only got a couple more hours. I think we should be good.
After mile 74, every time we saw Brad and Kyle, they just looked better and better.
Kyle just like couldn't do that.
Caleb is definitely quieter, and I texted to let them know. It was like, Caleb's actually starting to complain about hurting, so we need to be ready.
Hey, will you look at his right foot?
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole right side.
Yeah. Is it right here?
Yeah.
That's awful. Okay. Blister wise?
No, that honestly doesn't hurt. I just can feel the skin separating.
Oh, yep. Is it tender here?
Yeah. Yes.
He was getting some blisters, which we would expect at this point. The blisters may have caused him to land a little bit differently on that right foot, because that's where most of the blisters were forming.
Yeah, and honestly, that I want that.
I have some blister gel that I can put here and then put tape on it.
Okay.
Would that work?
Yeah. Yeah, tape is worse.
Put some blister gel and some tape on it. Stretched them out really good. Showed him stretches to do on the trail.
How far away to the next one?
6. Yeah. So.
80 right now. Here.
You're
Well, yeah,
basically
it's gonna
home
be
free.
it's gonna be over in 8 hours and
I'm pretty
90
sure it's
minutes.
mostly down there.
All right, I'm gonna be
All right.
moving real
All right.
slow for a second. What's that? 205.
205.
My last show with Brett was October 20th. We ended the fall tour. He was kind of weird towards me personally. We never had a talk about anything being wrong. He sat me down for a very brief coffee meeting, and very vaguely it was just like, yeah, no, I've got to make a change. I knew for 100% sure that I was getting let go about 48 hours out. So I kind of had 48 hours to be thoroughly mentally prepared, walking in the door, being like, I know about how long this is going to take. I know it's because I've done it. I've fired a band member before. I was like, the Brett gig was certainly not everything that I did professionally, but it was about 80%. If the biggest thing about it was me being like, I'm really going to miss that music, or I'm really going to miss the hang or whatever, then that would speak something to like how much I love the gig. But I didn't really think about those things. All I really thought about was, all right, I got to think about what's next. I'm going to miss that money.
Check out that sunrise. When the sun started coming up and we started going down, I remember telling Jay, I was like, I want to get off this mountain.
Thanks. You
got a drop bag?
I do. I don't need it though. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay, yeah, warm.
I'm gonna go through kind of quickly. Okay.
I remember as we were kind of sweeping through, I remember looking to my left and seeing you coming in right as we're leaving. So that's when, in my head, I started saying to Jason, I was like, all right, I know Brad. I've heard him say he wants to stop at this last drop bag point. And I don't know what he needs to get done. He might need some tape, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't need anything. I'm moving straight through.
Am I allowed to walk on?
All right. Y'all tell me what I can.
At some point, he said, we need to start working on our strategy to beat Brad. And I was like, oh no. Like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I was just here for emotional support. Like, I'm not in this to run quick with you. And so, like, I didn't say that out loud. You know, when you're pacing somebody, it's always positive. Like, keep it positive. I'm like, okay. And, I've said crazy things at the end of the ultras too. And I was kind of banking like that's what it was. Like, this wasn't going to turn into a race against his buddy.
I started taking that next section pretty seriously. Essentially, that was my move, putting some mega distance while Brad was sitting down getting his feet taped, because I know he's a monster.
Kyle said, okay, here's the deal. Next aid station, I'm going to give you my bottles. You fill them up. I'm just going to blow through, and we're just going to truck it to the next aid station. You grab me some food, and we're going to just make this happen. I was like, all right, man, let's do it.
Okay, so I need tape on this foot. I have to get 1,000 calories in me right now, and I have to fix my foot. And my knees hurt so bad. If I don't stop right now and do something about this, I'm gonna walk it in. Yeah. This was one of the times where it was just kind of a moment for me and Pops. I literally almost threw up 3 times. He came over and stood in front of me, grabbed me on the shoulder. He's like, "Come on, man, just eat it. Just eat it. You gotta eat it." I stood up. I felt good again, and in my head, I was just like, "You have 15 miles left. You just need to run like an asshole. See ya. Run like you're gonna die."
I was totally happy with where we were going, pace he was moving, and all of that stuff. I knew he was hurting, but I was like, if we're an hour and a half ahead of the cutoff, then.
You got about 30 minutes.
So we got to the mile 85 aid station thinking that I was an hour and a half ahead of the cutoff. And then the guy tells me, you got 30 minutes to get out of here.
That was the first moment that I was actually truly concerned.
We had messed up the daylight saving time situation. By 85, literally every single step was really painful.
He actually developed a palpable nodule on his Achilles tendon, and that is absolutely a surgical problem if it's bad enough.
I needed to like lay down and stretch out. Like I knew that was going to be every bit of 20 minutes, and the guy just told me that I had 30 minutes to get out of there. There I went to a very dark place emotionally. It was a very real possibility that I would not finish in time.
What's the mileage to the next aid station? Like 7.5, 8?
7.
That is why I choose to run these types of events. Giving up makes the most sense, but like, who am I?
So I left that aid station like 10 minutes ahead of the cutoff. And that was like my lowest point. Because then the physical nature of like laying down and like stretching out and stuff, then I could barely move. I was like, oh, I can't do 18-minute miles.
As we were walking out, we had a little bit of a conversation where I was like, hey, we have an hour less than we thought we did. We have to run.
I got dropped off on the side of the road in Denver. I didn't quit then. I'm not an impressive athlete by any means, but I guess I'm pretty good at not quitting.
Oh, the sun is all I need. Oh, the high I get from your company, and the shadow dancing beneath my feet again. Could I be dreaming? Could anything be so still? Don't know what I'm seeing.
But I started seeing Kyle 4 miles into that next stretch.
For the final aid station, that's when Rebecca and them passed and sort of was asking about Brad. They're like, oh, is he in front of you? And I was like, he shouldn't be. Is he close? And I was like, he shouldn't be. I was hoping.
We ran it. We ran hard. We ran the hills, which you typically don't do at the end of a 100-mile race. I tried to stay positive, and I'd be like, yeah, keep pushing, buddy. You're doing great.
I ran it so well.
Yeah.
I let go of my pack. I didn't need to eat any more food. I got some sports drink in one of my little handhelds.
And the aid station guy comes over to me, and he goes, how's he doing? And I was like, I think he's doing great. And it's more about how I'm doing.
I made it in and out of that aid station without any contact from Brad. I don't want to blow my chances of finishing. Let's step it back.
Hey, man. What are you looking for? Why would you do that?
When we came to that next aid station, I was like 100 yards behind him.
See ya.
I waited an hour to ask Kelsey where we were. I knew I was going to be moving slow. I said, have we made it at least 3 miles? She said, you've gone just a little over 4 miles. You just did a 12-minute mile just then.
Good job, guys. Good job.
And 1 mile past that aid, we moved past some other runners. I heard, oh, it's only 6 more miles to the finish. And I remember Jason going, man, I hate it when people do that. Don't never tell the runner the number.
I am getting ready to say to Kyle, there's no way that Brad is going to catch us. I open my mouth, and I'm about to say it.
I heard footfall behind me, and someone was moving quick, and I thought it was like either a pacer or someone. I turn around, and I see Brad leaning forward, and he's got this, I'll never forget this smile. He's got this, how y'all doing?
Oh, yeah.
So, it's like, this asshole.
Brad runs sprints by us.
I wasn't even thinking about I'm gonna pass all these people. I was just like, having fun running the last 20 miles of a 100-miler.
And we are like, son of a bitch, are you serious? And I could just see, like, Kyle was fuming. Like, I don't understand the body language. I just knew that it wasn't good.
Jason was like, dude, after what you just put down, anyone that can pass that, like, it's their day, and that's amazing, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, man, I love Brad, and gosh, man, I hope he breaks this PR. About 2 minutes went by, and I noticed we were already running much faster. So I told Jason, I was like, he's going to be real hard to run down, because he's going to try to really he's going to keep this pace as long as possible.
And I did. I was already running as hard as I could, and then I passed you, and I was like, oh, shit, man. I gotta really, like...
At least make it around the bend.
I gotta, like, get away from him just to, like, be nice, you know? Like, I gotta make sure that I'm not a jerk here.
That's when the shit got really fun. It was
yeah.
Like, there was something really joyous about, well, man, I owe it to the dude to try to hunt him down now, you know? And, like,
totally, man.
And I'm telling you, that's when the pain signals went away and stuff.
I looked back 3 times over the next 6 miles, and I don't know how I didn't see you on the road.
I saw you hiking, and I was like, keep hiking.
Yeah.
If I thought I saw you ahead, I was telling the runners behind you, like, like I was like, it was Rambo, dude. It was on.
And I knew that the end of the race, it was just a regular road. And so I just kept saying, like, just make it to that road. Like, all you have to do is make it to that road. And I'm hurting. I turned to Kyle and I said, man, go catch your buddy. Like, I can't hang with you anymore. Like, this is insane. And so I just kind of stopped and, like, caught my breath, and I watched Kyle take off.
I was giving it everything. I had my head tucked in, and slowly but surely you were becoming bigger and bigger. And then I see you bank right. I'm like, don't let this be the final turn. Like, give me another half mile, you know, or like, I got to that turn, and you were already, I heard you coming across the finish line. I was like, well, Brad and I finished inside of 2 minutes of each other. I was still giggling, and I was still so freaking excited.
When I came up to the finish line, I'm unbuckling my vest, and there was this woman that was like, no, don't quit now. You're already there. And I was like, I'm a pacer, and I'm a bad pacer. My runner has already crossed the finish line, and I'm just gonna go and drink a beer and sit on the lawn. I think those two guys are humble about it, but they unlocked something very special that day inside themselves, and it was incredible to watch it go down. Outside of, like, elite athletes, I've not seen anybody run like that at the end of 100 miles.
I love you, man.
I love you, buddy.
Dude.
Oh, man. What a run.
I was like,
oh, my God.
When you came back up, I was like, oh, shit.
And I just didn't know that if you do it right, or if you do it enough, or if you have the right kind of day, or a mixture of all those things, that you can be playing with one of your friends at the end of a long race.
Yeah, totally.
I couldn't have moved any faster on that terrain. And to do it after like 86 or 85 miles was probably really stupid, but it felt fun, and it was really fun to just to compete with one of my best friends. I thought that was honestly just a blessing. So competition over. I love that dude, and we're waiting for Caleb. So definitely wanted to make sure that he makes it in under the cutoff.
The power of pride used in the right ways can do some pretty amazing things.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I hope to have a 100-miler like that someday.
Dude, I hope you can, man.
For real.
Mine was not that, but I managed to grab a little bit of momentum and just kind of like slowly added a little bit of speed. So at that point, I knew that it was very reachable, and actually I got emotional, like kind of welled up inside when I thought, like, barring some sort of catastrophic failure, like, I'm gonna finish.
Yeah.
The rest of it was a lot more fun, actually, despite all the pain that I was in.
I'm super stoked that I had probably my most fun 100 ever, but at the same time, I'm kind of jealous because, like, that's the good shit.
You wanted the darkness.
I mean, honestly, I was like ready all day waiting on it.
Oh yeah, I'm grateful for the experience, to be honest. Like, got to that place and had to dig deep and get dark and
Yeah, totally.
So I'm very
meet
grateful
yourself
for
in
that.
the darkness.
Yeah.
Then to see you crossing the finish line is actually the only place in the entire race that I teared up.
Yeah.
So that's just like, this is too
totally.
awesome, you know?
Yeah.
Hey! Hey!
Finishing a 100-miler is so rewarding. Everybody wins. If you finish it, you won. Even if you tried the dang thing, in a way, you won.
Yeah,
This is just inflammation.
This hurts really bad. It felt terrible.
It felt terrible. That's exactly right, dude. This is the best day of my life. This is so good. I usually get pretty emotional with those things, but I was so busy being stupid with your dumb ass that like on Instagram before the race, it's like, you know, I'm gonna go meet the darkness, man, meet myself, you know, because that's how it normally is.
Yeah.
In this one case, like, it was none of that. I didn't come up with a name for my son that's being born soon. Like, none of that shit. I was just battling your dumb ass. Like,
This is a really great picture for me, like, for the rest of my life.
Well, it's deeper as a water. It's deeper as a water. I know just what I. 'Cause baby, don't you know we're the kings and queens, shining brighter than these silver screens. So don't let them get you down. Don't let them put you down. Keep running like hell till your feet give out. I don't care if you come crawling on your hands, your knees. Oh, you gotta believe we're the kings and queens. Kings and queens.
Getting a tattoo right now. My man Ian White's over here. Was looking at this symbol for 29 hours on all the trees, so figured I might as well look at it for a little while longer. Get it tattooed on the old left quad.
Caleb did finally have a race like Brad and Kyle. In 2019, he ran the Arkansas Traveler 100 and finished in 25 hours and 42 minutes, a full 2 hours faster than the other two DFL dudes.
All right, buddy. Yeah.
I'm not planning on taking another touring gig. I've been working with some newer country and pop artists, music directing their rehearsals, getting them in shape. There was a time when I moved to town and you're in that space like, I'll take anything. I need to work. Like, if work comes my way, then yes. I was that way up until, I took the Brett gig because that was like the best thing out there and that was awesome. That was a great step for my career. And now I'm at the point where I'm gonna say no to things that aren't right. And honestly, saying no to the few gigs that I have so far has been like the most satisfying thing in the world. Being like,
Every month, somehow, he's like, I paid the bills. Like, I made money this month. Like, so he's really good at that hustle.
In addition to keeping the bills paid, he found time to produce a passion project of sorts. A familiar gunslinger was also heavily involved. Despite her aversion to running, he managed to get Mandy to join him on the trails one afternoon. Being fully aware of her stance on the act as an exercise, he made this time count. In late 2018, Brad quit his gig with William Michael Morgan.
Oh, baby, just look at what is on his way.
I think I've come to grips with, I had been fulfilling myself for years, writing songs for other people and playing guitar for other people. And if I had a record contract on the table from Capitol Records, and then Dwight Yoakam called me to play guitar for him for a summer tour or something like that, it would be a struggle. It wouldn't be like, oh, duh, I'm gonna do this thing, But I totally neglected the thing that I'm probably most passionate about, which is like making my own music.
Despite the risk and his anxieties, Brad decided to give the solo career another shot. In February of 2019, he celebrated the release of Rhinestones and Broken Bones, along with a packed house at the back corner in Nashville. And of course, Kyle and Caleb provided the rhythm. His old friend, Mr. Ricky, even sat in for a song.
You know, I guess it was just far enough down the chain that I forgot how bad it hurt. You know, it's like signing up for another 100 miler. Like, you only remember how bad it hurts the day that you're doing it. And then at mile 70, you remember, like, this is a shitty idea. I should not have done this. So.
And that record, it soon found its way to Nashville radio.
Sound in that voice. Break My Heart, WSN.
Kyle's son, West, was born the January after the race. The four of them are finally settling into life in LA. You can see him weekdays on The Kelly Clarkson Show. When he isn't touring with Kelly, you can find him on stage and other places with Katy Perry. Or pretty much any day on a mountain trail near the city. Whether first or dead fucking last, these three share a bond in rhythm and in the darkness.
I have, you know, a wife and a kid and another one on the way. She's pregnant, so like, I didn't push running at all.
Another
that
kid on the way, not another wife, right?
Not another wife on the way. Yeah, she should be here in a little bit. Another wife. Oh my gosh. No, the one is plenty.
Sorry, I thought you nailed that.
Love you, Jamie. Do it to all the cameras.
I've never had more fun. I would say 80.
Well played.
I really like that you're drinking beer in between takes.
You gotta get a little bit of bourbon.
Goddamn rock star.
in a wife beater, nonetheless.
I forgot to lubricate my undercarriage.
Money. You gotta Instagram that.
Don't you know what will be more?
Motherfucker. Mo.
Is this not sexy? That's about the sexiest thing you've ever seen right there.
It's gonna be the greatest finish.
Your guitar just Me Too'd us.
Well, that can't go in the documentary.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to not joke about that?
Oh, man.
That was funny. That was funny. We probably should joke.